So when you think of Saudi Arabia, what comes to mind? For most of us, it's probably two things: vast oil fields and, just immense wealth. But behind all that shine, there's this critical vulnerability, a really fundamental problem. The country has almost no water. So today, we're going to dive into one of the most ambitious engineering projects on the entire planet, a project designed to solve that exact problem. It kind of sounds like a riddle, right? How on earth do you build a river that's actually longer than the Nile in a country that doesn't have any natural rivers to begin with? Well, that's the huge question we're going to unpack. And believe me, the answer is an incredible story of ambition, technology, and some serious consequences. All right, to really get why Saudi Arabia would even attempt something this audacious, we have to look underground. We've got to talk about the hidden treasure they relied on for decades, a treasure that was, well, rapidly running out. For a really long time, the kingdom got its water from something called fossil water. Now, this isn't your typical groundwater. This stuff is ancient, trapped deep in aquifers for thousands, even millions of years. And here's the most important part. It is a non-renewable resource. Once you use it, it is gone for good. This timeline really shows how a well-intentioned plan can go so wrong. See, back in the 1970s, they wanted food self-sufficiency, so they started this huge program to grow wheat in the desert. But that became a massive drain on their fossil water. I mean, by 2003, agriculture was guzzling a staggering 85% of the nation's water. The aquifers were being emptied so fast that by 2016, the whole program just had to be shut down. It was completely unsustainable. The scale of this loss is just mind-boggling. NASA satellites found that between 2002 and 2016, the country was losing 2 trillion liters of this precious water. Not in total, every single year. The warning signs weren't just flashing, they were screaming crisis. This quote just nails it. Using fossil water is exactly like draining a battery that you can never, ever recharge. Once it's gone forever. They were burning through a resource that took millennia to build up in just a couple of decades. A new solution wasn't just a good idea, it was an absolute necessity for survival. Okay, so facing a potential catastrophe, Saudi Arabia turned to a solution that honestly sounds like it's straight out of science fiction: building the world's largest artificial river. The sheer scale of this is just hard to wrap your head around. We're talking about a network of massive underground pipes, basically a man-made river system stretching for 12,000 kilometers. This isn't just a pipeline, you guys. It's a subterranean water superhighway. And just to put that number into perspective, this network is planned to be nearly twice as long as the Nile River. Think about that. The longest natural river on the entire planet is completely dwarfed by this man-made creation hidden under the sand. And it's not just about the length, it's the volume. The goal is for this network to move 9.4 billion liters of fresh water every single day across the whole country, from the coasts to cities in the middle of nowhere, and even pushing it up the sides of mountains. Which, of course, brings us back to that original question. Where in the world is all this water coming from? Okay, so if you don't have rivers and your groundwater is basically off limits, you've got to look to the one thing you do have a lot of: the sea. The answer to this whole puzzle is turning undrinkable salt water into fresh, drinkable water. The secret is a process called desalination. They are literally manufacturing fresh water. And Saudi Arabia has become the undisputed world leader in this technology, building these gigantic industrial plants all along its coasts that just suck in salt water from the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf and turn it into pure, fresh water. The main technology they use is called reverse osmosis, and the concept behind it is actually pretty simple. You take seawater, you put it under incredible pressure, and you force it through the special, super thin membrane. The pores in this filter are so ridiculously tiny that only the water molecules can squeeze through. It leaves all the salt, minerals, and other gunk behind. What comes out the other side? Perfectly pure, fresh water. And this tech has totally transformed the country's water supply. Just look at this. Desalination now accounts for a massive 2/3 of the nation's water. It's gone from being just a backup plan to being the absolute backbone of their water security. But, manufacturing this much water on such an industrial scale, well, it doesn't come for free. This amazing tech success story has a really significant and often hidden environmental cost. So what happens to all that salt they take out of the water? It creates this super concentrated, often toxic sludge called brine, and the amount they produce is just staggering. 329,000 tons of it are created every single day. To help you picture that, because that number is just huge, imagine the weight of more than 1,600 blue whales, the heaviest animal on Earth. That's how much waste is being created daily. And for years, most of it was just dumped right back into the sea. And that dumping has a devastating impact. It raises the local sea temperature and makes the waterways saltier, which has created these dead zones where coral reefs and all the marine life that depend on them just can't survive. Now, they are working on solutions, from these deep sea diffusers that help spread the brine out to this really fascinating idea called brine mining, where they actually extract valuable minerals from the waste, turning a pollutant into a resource. So even with all these challenges, this project is way more than just infrastructure. It's a critical piece of Saudi Arabia's grand vision for its future. It's a massive bet on the power of technology to completely reshape a nation. And we absolutely can't forget about the energy cost. The pumping stations needed to push all that water through 12,000 kilometers of pipes and up mountains, well, they consume a shocking 9% of the entire country's electricity. That's an unbelievably energy-intensive solution. Yeah, this project is absolutely central to their future plans. The goal is to meet 100% of their water needs with desalination by 2030. And in this really powerful symbolic move, the nation with no rivers is going to host the World Water Forum in 2027, basically showing off its tech mastery to the entire globe. When you get right down to it, this underground river is so much more than a feat of engineering. It's a powerful statement. It's a declaration that, for a price, human ingenuity can challenge even the most basic limitations that nature throws at us, like not having any water. And that leaves us with one final and really crucial question. This project proves that technology can